Well, welcome back to Suburban Jessup. In today's video, we're just going to do a quick discussion and then a little show and tell on how I texture odd-shaped pieces of metal like angle iron or square tubing that I can't put under the power hammer. I got a order for 30 brackets that needed to be textured so they look like old iron, kind of give them a rusted pitted texture. So I'm a third of the way into it, not quite a third of the way, and I thought that maybe it'd make a good video. So basically what we're doing here is I took and I cut 12-inch pieces of 2x2 by quarter angle iron, and then after I cut them, at a ½ an inch in, I cut little ears at 45 degrees to bevel the edges. Okay, so that's where we're at now. And what I'm doing now is I'm texturing them before I drill them. I found in the past that if you drill them and then texture them, you end up pushing material into the drilled holes and it doesn't work out real good. So basically what we're going to cover here real quick is how I texture these. And what I use is I use a Chicago pneumatic air hammer, and the bit, if you can see the bit is just a pointed bit, and it'll round off as you use it as you go, but it's nothing to worry about because it still textures pretty nice. And I don't like a sharp point anyway, because a sharp point, the dimple it makes is too sharp and it doesn't look like rust pitting. So that's what we're going to use. Now if you look down here on the table, I've got a piece of 1 inch by quarter flat bar clamped down here, and then I've got another piece of 1 inch clamped back behind to hold this to keep it from walking. And the reason I've got these two pieces, like it keeps it from walking, plus as I'm going with the gun, it doesn't hop off the edge and tear, scar up my bench, and I can just keep walking. And I'll show you here in a minute. So that's our setup. Now I've got a small C-clamp here that I come up and I clamp one corner to just kind of hold it to keep it from jumping up out of the guides there. So let's put our glasses on and let's put our ear protection on, and I'll show you how this works. Now, before I started using this piece of scrap flat bar, I used to have trouble getting close to the edge, and I kind of stayed away from the edge because it would drop off the edge, and it'd make it hard to. You'd have to pick it up and get it back on there. So with that piece, I get the edges real good. Now we're going to take this. We're going to move this down here out of the way. We're going to get this little section here where the clamp was. So there's one piece, if you can see it. Let's get it over here where you can see it real good. There's one textured side. Now we're going to do the other side real quick. So there's one of our pieces. You can see the texture on it, fairly decent, I think. So, like I said, I've got 30 of these to do, and I kind of jokingly say that I hate production work, and it's not one of my favorite things, but it's a necessary evil. So what I do to break up the monotony, and it really doesn't take that long to do one, but we got 30 of them to do. So I've got to drill 6 holes in these. So rather than try to center punch amongst all those or hit it from the backside, I've just made this small jig here, and if you look, it's got 3 holes drilled in it, and then there's center punch marks on this one edge. And what that does is that tells me that I want that edge against the center. These are 12 inches, so I put that against the center, and I take my little vice grip C-clamps, I clamp it on there, and I drill those 3 holes. Then I take it loose, and again I put it on the center with those holes to the center, clamp it, and I drill the other 3. So I've got 6 holes I have to drill, and that makes them go quicker. So I've got the first 10 done. I got 20 left to go. So I'm going to go over here real quick, and I'm going to drill these we're using this jig real quick. I'll show you how it works, and then that's pretty much going to be the end of the video. So I'll show you how I drill these real quick with this template, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's our drill press. Here's our clamp. Keep our piece held steady. So what we're going to do now is, like I said, we're going to take and we're going to turn these center punch marks, we're going to put them toward the inside of the piece. We're going to even up both ends. We're going to clamp that one there. We want to position the clamps so they're out of the way while we're drilling. There we go. So we're going to put it in the drill press. We're going to line it up. Make sure we're lined up. Clamp our piece. Check it again. We're real close. Got to move it over just a little bit. There we are. So there's our first hole. The clamps are a good idea. You can hold them with your bare hand, which isn't a real good idea, because if the piece catches, now on a smaller drill press it's not such a big problem unless it's a small piece, because it'll get away from you and it'll slice your hand, it'll slice your belly, it'll cut you. So it's a good idea to have the clamp to keep the piece from getting away from you. Especially, on a bigger drill press, you really need to use the clamp. Because the bigger the drill press, the more chance of it getting away from you. So let's set this back up again. Okay. Put our clamp in place, check it again. Okay. Now the other thing is gloves. Anytime I'm working around a piece of rotating equipment, I don't wear gloves. Lathes, drill presses, mills, anything with rotating that rotates, I don't wear gloves, because if that bit or whatever catches your glove, it's going to, what they call deglove you, it's going to take your fingers off. Okay, the skin on your fingers off. If not, wrap your hand around it and break your hand up. So I don't wear gloves when I'm using the drill press. Now we move that down one more time. We're going to move our board a little bit so that our clamp will hold. We're going to put that right there. We're going to get our clamp up here. Make sure it doesn't get in the way of the bit. Check it. And there's our third hole. Now we're going to clean up our table a little bit. Piece of wood. And we're going to take those off there. Like I said, we're going to take our template. Turn this piece around. We're going to set our template on there. Once again, with our center punch marks facing the inside. We're going to clamp it down. Like I said, trying to keep our clamps out of the way of our board and our drill press and everything, right here on the very end. Okay. Now we come up here again. Get it lined up, just like that. Double check it. And that's our six holes. Take our clamps off. There's our 6 holes. So they're lined up. So it works out pretty good. Like I said, we're not building a rocket ship. These are just going to be bolted onto wood with lag bolts. So it isn't like we're trying to match up with holes already drilled in steel. So this method works real good for that kind of work. So there's our finished piece. 6 holes, textured on the inside, because on the outside this is going to be up against something. So those sides didn't need texture. So there's our finished piece. There's our drill template. Said this is our holding jig. Makes it a lot easier, especially if you got 30 of them. So I hope you got something useful out of today's video. And until the next time we get together in suburban Jessup, you stay safe and bye.